The following is a special video presentation from the Las Vegas Review-Journal. You are watching RJ Debates 2020. Here is your host, Victor Jakes.
Hello, I'm Victor Jakes. Welcome to the Las Vegas Review-Journal's Nevada Judicial Debate Series. Today's debate is between the two candidates running in the general election for Clark County Family Court Department J. They are Dee Butler and Scott McDonald. The incumbent judge was defeated in the primary. We'll start by giving each candidate 1 minute to make an opening statement. Dee, go ahead.
Good evening, Victor. Thank you, and thank you to the RJ for having me this evening. I am Dee Butler, running for Family Court in Department J. I am a Boyd graduate, and I started my legal career here in Las Vegas, Nevada, in private practice, doing primarily family law. From there, I proceeded to the juvenile division of family courts, where I represented our most vulnerable, our children. I currently serve as the team chief of the domestic violence unit in the public defender's office. There, I supervise a team of 8 attorneys where we handle the most challenging cases, exclusively domestic violence. So most of our clients, like about 70% of people in Clark County, Nevada, cannot afford to hire private counsel in family court. So I help navigate them through the complicated family court system and continue to represent them pro bono when possible. So I understand that especially in family court, we need judges who are compassionate, fair, and diligent, dealing with people going through these emotional matters. We also need judges who are prepared. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dee. All right, Scott, you have 1 minute.
Thank you. So also thank you to the Review-Journal, for hosting this debate. It's an honor and a privilege to participate. And also congratulations to my opponent. Together, we defeated an incumbent judge, and that's in a primary election, by the way. And that's I think, a remarkable task, and I think we both deserve some congratulations for that. I'm Scott McDonald, J. Scott McDonald on the ballot. I'm running for the same District Court, Department J, Family Division, judicial seat. I am a native Nevadan. I've lived here in Las Vegas since 1966. I practiced law here in Clark County for over 35 years now. And for over 30 of those years, I have been assisting families in crisis. When people ask me what makes me qualified to be a judge, I answer because I have 30 years of experience assisting families in all manner of family court matters: divorces, custody matters, child support disputes, guardianships. I have seen families, I've actually seen multiple families that have come to me more than once as they've navigated through our system. It's complicated. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, Dee, you're going to get the first question. Divorces are a big part of family court and frequently involve emotional disputes. What makes you the person best prepared to resolve these conflicts as peacefully as possible?
Thank you, Victor. I think I am the person to resolve emotional conflicts as peaceful as possible because I have an even temperament, a cool temperament. As team chief of the domestic violence unit, every single case I'm dealing with is very challenging, with people who are pointing the finger at one another. They usually have companion family cases going at the same time, so they're arguing about child custody cases. And with my personality and experience over all of my years dealing with these difficult cases, I know how to talk to people directly and honestly, my clients, letting them know that they're being heard. And as a judge, I would respect them and make sure that they are heard as well. Most people just want to know that the judge is prepared, having read the pleadings before getting on the bench, but also willing to listen once the parties are before her. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dee. Scott, same question for you. Obviously, you've represented people going through divorce. What makes you the best person to be the judge instead of the lawyer in those cases?
Victor, the best answer that I have for that is simply my body of life experience. In addition to having practiced law for 35 years, I've also raised 5 children. I have 11 grandchildren. I know a thing or two about the needs of children. 3 of those children of mine followed me through my own personal divorce experience. But more importantly, I've represented hundreds of families, helping them navigate through what is obviously a very difficult experience. Experience is what matters the most, and I've got a ton of it.
Thank you, Scott. We'll send the next question to you, Scott, first. Is it more important for a judge to enter the courtroom ready to make a decision, which does speed things along, or to be open to persuasion during oral arguments, which can cause a delay in issuing a judgment?
Well, I think both. I mean, clearly we want judges going in prepared. You have to know exactly what each respective litigant's position is on the issues. But at the same time, we've got to be able to listen, pick up some nuance that might not be available in the written pleadings. It's why, in the end, the Zoom hearings that we're having now, I hope there comes a time when we get rid of them, because the simple fact of the matter is live hearings with people in front of you where you can, assess body language and nuances of language and attitudes, little subtle little things which might come up, which might somehow affect your judgment, your reasoning in possibly making a different judgment than perhaps your first impression.
Thank you, Scott. Dee, same question for you. How do you see yourself ruling as a judge, and prepared to make a decision from the bench, or taking those oral arguments into consideration?
Thank you, Victor. I actually agree with Scott. I love a judge who is prepared, and when I walk into the courtroom, like some of our legendary judges have said, I've read everything, I'm prepared, what do you have to add? Because I do agree that, especially in family cases, things are moving so fast. There could have been an incident just last night that didn't make it to the pleadings. And with people representing themselves, not really understanding how the pleadings work and what to put in there, there's very vital information that people can express in person. So I agree both. You should read the pleadings, you should know the law, but you should always be open to hearing what both sides have to say. A lot of that supplemental information is very vital to the case. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dee. And stay tuned. Our judicial debates will continue in just a moment.
With so much excitement building around the Raiders and their inaugural season in Las Vegas, the fans want to be heard. The launch of Vegas Nation Fan Zone is their answer. That's right, Raiders fans can sound off on all things Raiders, from players to coaches to even the new Allegiant Stadium. Vegas Nation Fan Zone is accessible 24/7 and allows fans to generate and upload their own posts for lively interaction. Simply go to fanzone.vegasnation.com to sign up today.
You're watching the Judicial General Election debate for Family Court Department J. It's part of an ongoing series of debates produced by the Las Vegas Review-Journal to inform local voters about these important races. Dee, this question is for you. On your website, you list your primary experience as a decade working in the Clark County Public Defender's Office. Your current position, as you've talked about, involves leading the domestic violence unit. Do you have enough family court experience, especially in the areas of divorce and child custody, to be a family court judge?
Thank you, Victor. And yes, I do. Like I said in the beginning, I started my career in private practice with Schutz and McGahey Law Firm, doing primarily family cases, because although the firm also did insurance defense, I was the one who actually enjoyed the family law work. So I started working for them as a law clerk while I attended Boyd for 2 years, and then I worked for them as an attorney as well. From there, I moved over to the juvenile division, where most of the families there have family court cases. Now I'm doing the domestic violence unit, which I was placed there because I have a background in family court cases, and many of our clients have those companion family court cases. So we approach things holistically, and I enjoy helping people work through those matters. Finally, I continue to represent clients pro bono and currently have divorce cases and guardianship cases. So I handle the full range of family court cases. Thank you.
Thank you, Dee. Scott, on your website, it says that you want to be a judge because, quote, "it is my time," end quote. Why do you think you're entitled to be a judge?
Well, let me be very clear. I don't think that I'm entitled to be a judge. That would be a very arrogant statement. Nobody owns the seat. It's a public trust. We serve the public, and I wouldn't presume to tell anybody that I'm entitled to the seat. But I do want the seat. I think I'm prepared for it. And really what I meant by that statement was, I've been practicing law a long time now. Everybody, well, most people that know me would say that I'm a fairly congenial person. I'm easy to get along with. I'm a fairness-oriented attorney, and I'll be a fairness-oriented judge. And my body of professional life experience has brought me to this point where I think I can take all of that experience, use it effectively on the bench to help people get through a very difficult decision. And I think it will make me a very good judge.
Thank you, Scott. And we'll go to you for this next question. What characteristic or experience do you have that most distinguishes you from your opponent?
Well, to me, that's an easy one. And I say this with the greatest respect to Dee Butler. But, and without publishing the exact difference, I'm simply going to state that I'm old enough to have handled a significant body of casework that she's simply not old enough to have done. I don't quite know how to say that any nicer. I've been around a while. I mean, I've been practicing law for 35 years. And in that 35 years, I've literally handled hundreds of family law cases. I've seen, as Dee just said, I've seen the entire gamut of it. There's really nothing that will come before me that will be of a particular surprise. I'm prepared for it. This is what I've made my life's work. And I definitely have the temperament and desire to do the job. So it really for me, it comes down to just the simple fact that I'm old enough to have developed just a tremendous body of experience.
Thank you, Scott. Dee, I'm going to give you the same question. What characteristic or experience do you have that most distinguishes you from Scott?
Thank you. And Mr. McDonald has been so kind. I am gracious to be in a race with him. As far as the years of experience, I like to say I have more courtroom hours of experience. I have represented over 3,000 clients, both in family court, insurance defense, criminal, juvenile work. I have the most varied experience, having done bench trials, juvenile trials, and jury trials, having to fine-tune my skills with evidence and discovery. I don't know what Mr. McDonald is doing exactly right now, but right now I am appearing in court every single day. So adding up all of my hours of experience being in court every day, I get to see a wide range of judges, the good, the bad, the judges who are prepared, the judges I would like to emulate. I also sit on a variety of boards that our legislators have created to change policy regarding domestic violence, where I work closely with judges. So I am definitely in the trenches every day right now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dee. I want to ask you a question about foster and adoption cases. Dee, we'll start with you. You know, Clark County is going to have 3 new family court seats working on child abuse and neglect cases. Now, obviously, every case is different and has different specifics, but how much time would you give a birth parent who took only inconsistent and sporadic steps to work their case plan and attend visitation before terminating their parental rights?
Thank you, Victor. And like you said, it is a case-by-case scenario. I would want to know exactly what effort was put forth, because we see some clients who do absolutely nothing. And in those cases, when we come up for the 6-month review, and of course the 12-month review when the goal is for permanency, we want to know exactly what steps the parents took. Did they follow the resources given to them to establish a permanent relationship with their kids, or did they do absolutely nothing? Because of course, it depends on what is in the best interest of the child, but generally permanency is in the best interest of the child. And in most cases I deal with, children want to go home to their natural parents, but we have to consider their safety. So while I can't give a specific time, that's why we have a 6-month check and a 12-month check for sure. And the judge is able to put other status checks in the middle if it's necessary.
Thank you very much, Dee. Scott, I want to ask you the same question. Let people know you're thinking, you know, what's the balance between giving parents time to work their case plan and just saying, well, you haven't been doing anything, it's time to give that child permanence?
Well, first I'm going to say I agree with everything that Dee said, and I'm even going to defer to her on the experience in that particular area. Know that this particular seat is not an abuse and neglect seat, but that doesn't change the relevancy of the question. I happen to think that a termination of parental rights, and I'd be willing to lay odds that Dee would agree with me on this, needs to be the absolute last resort. There are times when there's simply no choice. Parents haven't made the effort. They're either incapable or unwilling. But I have prided myself throughout my career on trying to look between the lines, try to see what other people weren't seeing. And I can tell you that from family members in my own family that have suffered with dependency issues, there are simply times when people are incapable of doing what is asked of them, but with the right treatment and the right amount of time, somehow get their life back together again. And I would hope that in most cases that could be accomplished so these kids could be reunited with their actual parents.
Thank you, Scott. And we appreciate you sticking with us, and we'll be right back after these messages.
All your listeners and followers, the best name of any podcast in the world is podcast.
Nobody's ever done it. Nobody's ever faked
Not that we
their
know
death.
of.
No.
When you work with Prince, you got to get used to the fact that he changes musicians like underwear. You know, like
Tom Brady.
Who?
And Tom Brady, he's a quarterback out of in the Boston area.
I'm not sure who you're talking about.
Get ready for every Raiders game with us. Vegas Nation Game Day will give you everything you need to know about each week's matchup.
I'm excited.
Sundays at 9 a.m. starting in September on YourView. Vegas Nation Game Day coming this September.
Welcome back, and thank you for joining us. You are watching the Judicial General Election Debate for Department J. Scott, this question is going to go to you. What is one deficiency you see in the family court system, and what would you do to fix it if elected?
Wow, that's a great question. So I think the best answer is the resources that are available to indigent clients. The simple fact of the matter is that access to our courts, access to justice is just simply not truly available to all people. I don't know what the exact statistics are, but a significant percentage of the cases that are handled down there are indigent and self-represented clients. And we simply need to do more for them. Now, I realize we've got to balance that with budgets, and this isn't exactly the time to talk about throwing more resources at the family courts, as we all know. But there are things that I think could be done, and in particular with the self-help center, which right now people are kind of thrown in there. They're told they can't actually give legal advice. They might help them determine which forms to use. But these are people with no place else to turn. And I think we could find ways to put people in there that could actually answer their questions and help them navigate this process. It's just too scary for people that don't have the ability to hire an attorney.
Thank you, Scott. Dee, same question for you. What's something you want to change in the family court system?
Thank you, Victor. And of course, I agree with Scott. The most important issue is everyone having equal access to fair hearings. So I won't reiterate everything he said. I will also add that the delay in decisions and orders. I have some clients waiting months. They have to do super expensive evals that nobody can really afford. So it delays the judge making a decision. And yes, you can have temporary orders, but having been divorced here in Clark County myself, I understand that the peace and happiness that comes with having a final divorce decree for so many people is what they want, a final decision. So that's why I said it's important for our judges to be prepared, be efficient. Yes, we have to let everyone be heard, but we have to be able to issue orders out in a timely fashion so families are not waiting and confused about what's going on. Thank you.
Thank you, Dee. This is going to be the last question before we go to our closing statements, and Dee, it'll be for you. If you are elected, what do you want your legacy to be?
Thank you. I would love for my legacy to be a very compassionate, fair judge, one who ran a clean election against a kind opponent, but also just a judge who went over and beyond. I admire the judges who use their opportunity to serve our community and create programs that will be long-lasting to help our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Dee. Scott, same question to you. What legacy would you like if you are elected?
Well, I would like my legacy to be not a judge who never showed up or wasn't on time or was always traveling when he should have been trying cases. and Dee and I both know that there are judges like that down there. I intend to work hard, use the experience that I've gained throughout my 35 years of practicing law to do exactly what people need, which is manage cases, get them through, sometimes make the tough decisions. And in the end, I want to be known as someone who really took care of kids. I've got 5 of my own and 11 grandkids, and to me, it's all about the kids. The adults, we make our choices and we can live with the results, but the kids are often unwitting victims. And I want my legacy to be someone who looked out for kids.
Thank you very much, Scott, and stick with us. We'll be back for our final segment in just a moment.
The Vegas Nation podcast is your source for all your Las Vegas Raiders news. Subscribe and get fast takes and smart coverage. Download the Vegas Nation app, check out vegasnation.com, and stay up to date with your Las Vegas Raiders.
Alexa, play my flash briefing.
Here's what's new in today's news.
Stay in the loop of the latest information in the Las Vegas Valley with the Las Vegas Review Journal Flash Briefing. Every day, we will provide you with everything you need to know in news, business, weather, entertainment, and sports. Go to the Alexa app and search LVRJ News Briefing. Then say, Alexa, play my flash briefing to hear 3 minutes of the most important information in Las Vegas.
Welcome back to our judicial general election debates. It's time for closing statements. Scott, you have 1 minute.
Thank you, Victor. Thank you to the RJ, and thank you to my opponent, Dee Butler, for this experience. It's been incredible. If the voters of Clark County want to know why they should elect J. Scott McDonald to be the next judge in Department J, the answer is pretty simple. It's because experience matters. I know we're both making the experience argument, but I've been doing this for a long time now. For over 35 years, I've been helping families in crisis. I have the experience to understand the gravity of the decisions that are made in family court. I have the experience to understand that sometimes the divorce is just the beginning of it. Oftentimes the divorce is the simple part. It's the things that come up post-divorce that we can spend years revisiting and litigating. And I've counseled families through years and years and years of post-divorce trauma. I know what I'm doing. I've seen it all in family court, the experience to bring to the bench and get going immediately. I'm excited to do it, and I hope that people will think about J. Scott McDonald when they're casting their vote for their next judge in Family Court Department J. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Scott. Dee, you've got 1 minute.
Thank you. I am a mother of 3 beautiful children, and I have been divorced here in Clark County, Nevada. So I understand what it feels like to stand in that space. I will not forget those feelings when I am a judge. I am currently dealing with child custody exchanges and all the issues that come with being a divorced mom of very young children. So I am empathetic, and I will be very compassionate to the people before me. Also, every day in court, I'm dealing with people dealing with their worst moments, and everything that's going on now in our community, everyone is just trying to do their best. Most of us are just trying to do our best and figure it out. We have seen a drastic increase in domestic violence cases, unfortunately a drastic increase in divorces. So I am every day talking to people on their worst days. As a judge, I want people to understand that they will be treated with kindness and respect, and I hope to earn everyone's vote in Clark County, Nevada. You can learn more about me at butlerforjudge.com. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dee. Thank you, Dee and Scott, and thank you for watching this edition of Nevada Judicial Debates. Probably the nicest one you will see all election season. Remember, you can find this program and more information on all the judicial races at reviewjournal.com. We'll see you next time.